forget lane splitting alone, but he can go down roads and different, alleys and things that cops couldn't normally do.
How long has this been going on?
About a half an hour. That's what we're hearing.
But Rick, you also said that he's been blowing through red lights.
Yeah, absolutely. Red lights and stop signs, but then he'll choose to just stop at a stop sign too. Now he will slow when he does have a red light, like he is here. He's coming up on another intersection with a lot of traffic, but slitting through. Now he's got the green light again. He is moving westbound now towards the 605 freeway. And we are on Rosecrans.
We are hearing, Rick, by the way, when it comes to motorcycles, that spike strips are not usually used. So we may not.
And now he's getting on the freeway. As I thought, I mean, he's been looking to get on this freeway. So many freeway options. Northbound 605 now. He'll be traveling through Norwalk up towards the 105. Steve, go ahead. My apology.
And now, Rick, he can really let loose as far as speed goes because that's the freeway. There he goes.
That's exactly right. He's gonna be burning 115, 120 maybe.
Oh boy, these things never end well.
And if you are look at this. If you're in a car up ahead, you have no idea what's coming up behind you.
Right.
Now, from my vantage point, I do not see any LA County Sheriff's Deputy Patrol cars trailing him at this point. I see no CHP either.
He's blowing by them like they're going 20 miles an hour. And the thing is, people lane split.
They're going 70, 75.
Right,
yeah,
so that gives you an idea.
Look at him. Look at him go.
He's over 100 and probably 50.
Wow.
Is this something that you see frequently out here, guys?
Absolutely not. Now, we do cover quite a few pursuits. I have covered a couple on motorcyclists. Never seen one at this
not
this
at this speed.
Although the one pursuit that we covered where someone got away, it was in a motorcycle.
Yep.
It was on a motorcycle. Yep. He went into a garage.
Yep. It's just easier, but the risk is a lot higher because he's not covered like he would be in a vehicle.
Yeah.
The thing is, for these drivers, this happens to you in LA all the time. Lane splitting is legal, so these guys come flying up beside you. But this guy's going at least 115 miles an hour. We're going 135.
We're going 135 up here in Skybox, trying to keep up with him.
Wow.
He's going
we're on the 605, approaching the 105.
He better know his traffic information today because eventually he's going to be hitting some traffic.
Well, he's on the lower side of traffic.
He's going northbound.
Yes, he's going northbound, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly right. This is the lighter volume side. The southbound side will be heavier here, coming up in another couple of miles. Northbound, almost at the 105 now, and again, we are not seeing any California Highway Patrol cars or LA County Sheriff's deputies trailing him on the freeway. We see the law enforcement ships up ahead, though, overhead.
As far as helicopters, not that he's looking up, but can he see you guys up there? Does he know he's being followed at least by helicopter?
I'm certain he does, but at this point, it's got to be so noisy for him at the speed he's going. I mean, he's just focusing on the roadway. He doesn't know that. I'm sure he does not know that there are no officers behind him at this point. I'd say that, Joe.
Okay.
Because he just hasn't had a time to look back, obviously, here, now that he's on the freeway.
Yeah, I work for the Fox News Channel in New York City typically, and whenever we see these kinds of things, we've got these huge control rooms, and we see something like this. Typically, it's out in the Los Angeles area,
right?
And we'll pick it up, and it's just you sit there with bated breath and biting your fingernails, making sure that one of these idiots doesn't run over some kid or cause some horrible accident. Because we're not familiar. Typically, New Yorkers aren't familiar with the area, or much of the nation isn't familiar with the area out here and how just how crazy traffic can get.
We're too familiar with these things.
Rick, I remember it was back in, I guess, about 92 or so, there was a pursuit that TV picked up, and it ended up in a deadly moment. And that kind of
the white truck on the overpass.
That's exactly right. That's kind of put it on the map, and then, of course, the OJ slow chase. And then pursuits became part of our television culture.
Absolutely. The way we covered them changed a little bit, though, because I remember one of them, they were close up and the guy shot himself.
Well,
this is getting ugly.
Now, he's transitioned, guys, to the northbound side of the 5. So he's on the northbound 5 now, heading up towards the downtown area. A lot more congestion here. This is the busier side of the 5. And here's the situation. They may know who this guy is. They've run the plates on the back of that motorcycle, the registered owner at least, so they may know where this guy lives and may be able to catch up with him eventually. That is unclear at this time. We don't know why he's being pursued.
Yeah, they can ease off because there's always an increase in the danger if they're hot on his tail. So they can ease off if they have that information.
That's exactly right. And he's had to ease off a bit here as well with the traffic, Steve. He's down probably to about 80, 85 now. Still cutting through traffic, but a lot more volume here, a lot more dangerous for him.
Can you see ahead? Does the traffic really slow down ahead?
It does get heavier, yes. It looks like it's going to be down to about 20 miles an hour
So
here
that'll have a
coming
big
up towards the
impact,
LA
yeah.
River.
There'll be a lot of lane splitting then.
And which is legal in California, but in a situation like this, they log all of the infractions, all the stoplights, all of the red lights that he buzzed through. So he will be written up on all those infractions as well.
Well, something makes me think there's probably a much larger infraction he's running away from. Those aren't going to matter.
Definitely.
Yeah, but
You got
oftentimes,
that.
Rick, we find out those infractions aren't that large. Sometimes people just started running for reasons that were minor relative to the pursuit.
Or had a
Exactly.
couple
A couple of unpaid parking tickets.
That's right,
Or didn't appear in court for running a stop sign. You're right. Look at him swerve in and out there. You could really see him there. Splitting lanes there. And now this is where he's going to encounter the volume though. But he's going to be able to go on the right shoulder or into the center divider area.
And you're right, these people he's passing, they have no idea other than there's a guy speeding past them.
And he's speeding up again here, probably up to about 85, 90 miles an hour now.
You know, Rick, a lot of motorcyclists, and my husband says the same thing as I'm getting tweets about this, they say that lane splitting is a little safer for them on the motorcycle simply because if you look at the middle of a lane, you see the dark line there. That's all oils and stuff from cars, and so it's a little slippier for them. They like to ride on the inside or the outside of a lane. I know my husband does. He lane splits with me on the back. I want to kill him because you feel like your knee is going to go into the car. This is a situation where the guy's by himself. He's going probably 150 miles per hour. These guys doing 70, 75. Well, and it's beyond dangerous.
And to correct, if he wants to correct, if a car starts to happen and doesn't see him and happens to start to move into his lane, he needs to correct.
A lot of times
he's going to go flying upside down.
These guys fly up on you, and you go to change lanes, and all of a sudden there's it's really frightening. It's always fascinated me that it's legal here. It just fascinates me, but you have to really watch out.
So just to reset this, guys, this pursuit started probably about 8:45, 8:40 this morning. It stayed in the community of Norwalk for some time. He was doing big laps around Studebaker, Norwalk Boulevard. Perhaps he was looking for a ramp to get on the freeway, on the 91, the 105, or the 605, the freeways that border Norwalk there. He finally found it. Now he's slowed down there behind that rig.
Oh yeah,
But he's now traveling northbound
Rick,
on the
joining us right
freeway,
now
coming
is
up by the Commerce Casino.
right. Joining us is Officer Mike Harris from CHP. Good morning.
Good morning.
You see what we're seeing. What goes on here now?
You know, the initial want for the vehicle was for speed. The officers tried to pull him over, and obviously, as you can see, he fled, not wanting to be pulled over. The officers maintained a visual on the motorcycle for as long as they could. Once they lost visual on the surface streets, they discontinued the pursuit as far as actively pursuing him. And we happened to have a helicopter in position. And at that point, they took over the pursuit, and now we're just following him until we can get him into custody.
He's obviously a skilled rider, and does he have the advantage because he's on a motorcycle and you guys are in cop cars, or do you have to deploy your own cycle cops?
Obviously, him being on a motorcycle is going to give him the advantage in traffic like this. We wouldn't chase somebody in this particular situation unless there's exigent circumstances, because it's not safe for us, it's not safe for the people on the roadway, and it's not safe for the rider himself.
And as far as you know, Officer Harris, it is just the guy who was speeding and he's run away from being arrested there. Do we know anything more about him?
We don't have any further information on the rider.
So you have to run plates and stuff. But the good news is for you guys is gas. Gas is a factor. Tanks, these are smaller tanks. They can only go so far. They don't go obviously as far as a car.
Absolutely. You know, and obviously you can see on some of the different angles of the motorcycle, there's not a plate on the motorcycle. So that's another thing that we have.
There's not a plate, okay.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But he definitely looks like a skilled rider. Would you agree?
You know, it's hard to tell. Obviously, he's been able to handle the motorcycle fairly well. I'm not a rider myself to know the skill level per se, but he appears to be able to ride.
Is there a point, Officer Harris, where people who are not in law enforcement say enough is enough, do something to stop him? Is there ever that point, or you don't care how long it takes as long as nobody gets injured?
I mean, that's one of the biggest concerns that we have, obviously. You know, there's not a whole lot of options that we have to make a stop on this vehicle without him stopping. We can't lay a spike strip on a motorcycle. You obviously can't pit a motorcycle there's just a lot of the resources that we have to stop pursuits we don't have when it comes to a motorcycle.
Is there, you're talking about pitting and the spike strip, which you can't use with a motorcycle. Is there something specific to stopping motorcycles?
The only options that they're all going to be case-by-case basis, obviously. Of course, I can't get into the details of policy on things like that, but, the different techniques that we can use are all dictated by each case-by-case scenario.
And we keep repeating that the people who are driving, and it's still, it's still rush hour here, they don't have a clue. As this motorcycle comes up behind them, do you have concern for them?
Of course, the innocent parties in situations like this are the biggest concern that we have, especially with pursuits. And if anybody is listening or anybody thinks that the best option they have is to try and intervene, don't get involved, don't intervene in any way, shape, or form. It's not. It's dangerous for you and it's dangerous for everybody involved.
We're watching him. He's going. I mean, he still continues to go fast, and the traffic seems to be a bit more congested than it was and now he's turning off. Let's listen in.
Yeah, where's he going right now, Rick?
Just made a quick exit here, and there is a CHP patrol car following him now. He just took that off ramp as well. And the question I was going to have for Officer Harris is that he's making his way well to the north, and they pulled off for the most in terms of following him. Are they alerting law enforcement in communities like Los Angeles so that they can catch up with him in the air and let those patrol units know on the ground exactly where he stopped, perhaps running out of gas? And he is heading southbound on Telegraph Road now, which parallels the 5 here, coming out of East LA.
Officer Harris, you still with us?
Yes, sir. Sorry. As far as keeping the allied agencies involved, absolutely. We'll use every resource that we have, and we'll definitely keep in communication with all the outlying agencies in the area to keep them involved in the pursuit as well.
Yeah. Well, you just saw him avoid a semi
County
truck.
Road. He got off, got back on, high speed.
So
Get back on the freeway.
just in case we thought he was going home.
So tight right there.
For those drivers, it's scary enough when you have a regular guy lane splitting at 65, 75 miles an hour. This guy's doing a lot.
Look at that. And there's maybe 6 feet clearance, Jill, in between those cars at times.
Maybe, absolute. Rick, sometimes even less.
Yeah, you're right. So he is going very quickly northbound here. A lot of volume, as you can see, traffic moving under 10 miles an hour. Back northbound, that's where he came from. Here comes the CH. Look at this.
Oh, no.
Let's see what happens here. This is a very dangerous situation. You don't know if he's armed. He's putting down his and he's down. And he's down. Look at that. What a courageous move by that CHP officer there. Very, very dangerous. You have no idea what you're dealing with. He came against traffic there. The individual being pursued just chose to drop the bike there, and wow, in custody.
That was one of the quickest you've ever seen, Rick.
Never seen.
Officer Harris, you were watching this. Take us through it.
Again, like I talked before, there's extended circumstances where different resources have to be used, and a lot of times we have to go off of our instinct.
Your own instinct at this point. Yes, at some moment it goes beyond training.
Well, I got to tell you, we've been covering these for almost 20 years, and that was the quickest I've ever seen.
So what happens to him now, officer?
He's obviously going to be taken into custody, and he'll be booked into jail for felony reckless evading.
They're not even taking his helmet off.
No, that's what I was just going to say.
We also get to find out exactly what the infractions he may have been avoiding were, but again, he was pulled over for speeding, and who knows what's happening, but then you can see all the officers.
And I don't know where that motor officer, California Highway Patrol, at your service there, came from. He ran a brake. He stopped traffic. He knew that he was coming back northbound and confronted him right head on like that. And